Sorry about that, folks. Had a little bit of technical difficulty there. But what's going on, guys? Thank you for tuning into the Two Tone Zone. I am your host, Mr. Two Tone. Today, I don't have D Weez with me. D Weez is taking care of some family issues. He had a family emergency this morning. He's just tending to that. On this show, it's always family first. So, thoughts and prayers go out to his family, and all positivity going into that direction. I do have a special guest in the building, though. However, all you guys know of him, Big Blue Enforcer from Titans and Truth. He was nice enough to join us on the show today. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and bring my brother in. Okay, folks. 1 second here. Big Blue, what's up, man?
What's going on?
Yes, sir, man. Hey, thank you again for coming on the show, man. I can't express how much it means to the Two Tones on me, to D Weez and I.
Hey, you know what? It is an honor and a privilege and to be on this show with you. And I'm always down to talk some Titan ball
Right.
anytime.
Man, well, there's a lot to talk about. Seems like every day there's a topic trending within the Titans community, man. So right now, I was just on Google a second ago, and I was looking at that Rashawn Evans has been voted top Tennessee Titan player to be on the hot seat as far as having a position solidified in this Tennessee Titans team. What are your thoughts on that, man? Do you agree or disagree?
I actually kind of agree because, let's think about this. There were talks earlier on that Rashawn Evans could be on the trading block around the draft. And so he's going, he didn't get his fifth-year option picked up. So this is a contract year for him right now. And so a lot of people thought, well, maybe the Titans trade Rashawn Evans as a part of a package to get Julio. That, obviously we got Julio and that didn't
Right.
have to happen. But, pressure's on Jayon, right? Not Jayon, but Rashawn Evans. Him and Jayon are in contract years. So
Right.
the pressure is on. Rashawn's got to produce because he was a highly touted draft pick. I remember back in the draft when he was drafted, in my mock draft, I picked him. I'm like, I had him slated here, and right now it's just been kind of a meh, almost a disappointment. So, his seat's pretty hot right now.
Right, especially with those self-inflicted mistakes.
Yes.
Those dummy penalties that are just unnecessary. And it's just unprofessional for one. For two, it's just untimely, and all these penalties put us in a position where we had to dig ourselves out of something, right?
Yo.
We'd finally get a play, we finally make some plays on defense, and then all of a sudden a bonehead mistake happens, like some of those
Mm-hmm.
mistakes that he made. I love Rashawn Evans, so I don't want to. I don't want to get anything twisted. I do love Rashawn Evans. I love the way he approaches the game as far as like how hard he plays. So maybe this might put some fire up on him. Being on that hot seat. He might have a phenomenal year, and if he does, man, salute to that man because there's a lot of negativity, and to hear that, to hear all the negativity, and to just kind of hopefully he can just harness it and turn it into some tackling fuel. You know what I mean? Like Bobby Boucher, turn it into tackling fuel. Just like Coach Klein told him in the movie. But you know, not to joke around or anything, but it's all seriousness. But hopefully he can turn around and remain a Tennessee Titan because there are people in his position that can take over right
Yep,
now.
you're right. Because David Long is just barreling down his neck.
Right.
I honestly think him and Jayon could be pretty good together. Now you're bringing in Monty Rice, which, if y'all saw my draft show, I hated the pick from the beginning. I hated that pick. And maybe Monty Rice will prove me wrong, but we'll definitely see. Looked at some film and saw him looking pretty decent. But, yeah, it's put up a shut up for Rashawn now. It's time for him to do what he's supposed to do. Lead this defense, get it together, stop with the untimely penalties like you said. Because,
Right.
you can't, there's nothing more demoralizing than if you have a third down, if you have a third down and like 12, and you get off the field, but then you have some stupid penalty that's a 15-yard penalty. Now it's another set of downs. You don't want that. So Rashawn's got to get his butt together and get under control, and let's make this happen and do it the right way.
Right. Yep. Exactly. Because we know he's Tennessee Titan tough, but now you gotta be Tennessee Titan smart.
Exactly.
And I make those bonehead plays, man, because it's times when down the stretch where you got to have You got to be conditioned physically and mentally.
Exactly.
Down the stretch, that's very important.
Because you got to remember, what is the old adage everybody always say? Work smart, not hard.
Right.
Too many times like he's working hard, but he's not being smart. Mm-hmm. So you gotta, football, like you said, in Little Giants, they say it. Steve Entman, the all-time great from the Colts, he said, 80% mental, 40% physical. It's a lot of mental game. It's a lot of game within the game going on in between the ears. Mm-hmm. And that's where you gotta have your biggest impact in the mindset.
For sure. I mean, because they're going to have to back up that intimidating offense we have. They're going to have to back that up.
Mm-hmm.
So while I'm on that subject of the offense, how do we approach the game offensively? We have all these weapons to use those X plays in our advantage, right? We definitely look for those X plays, but the key part of the game is controlling the clock, manipulating the clock. So if you're Vrabel, you're Downey, and I know week to week is going to vary, but how do you approach the game? Do you try to dink and dunk, the check downs, hit a couple slants, maybe some comebacks, and just kind of just run the ball with Derek, and maybe he can stay under control from the defense side, because we know he's gonna break off for something eventually,
right?
But do you try to run the ball with how would you approach it?
Let's see. So, from a defensive perspective, since I used to play defense in high school, seeing this offense the way it looks like it's being constructed, first of all, would terrify the crap out of me as a defensive coordinator. Because it's like, how do you attack this offense? I mean, honestly enough, this offense, on paper, looks to be damn near unstoppable. It's basically going to be pick your poison. Mm-hmm. If, for example, and it's really going to come down to taking what the defense gives you. So, if, for example, what a lot of teams tend to do, if they're seeing Julio and AJ on each side, if they're backing off, they're playing that cover 2 high safety to kind of try to control both of them, you got a chance to hand the ball off to Derrick Henry because you're only going to have maybe 6 or 7 in the box. Right. You'll be able to control that. And Derrick Henry can just ground and pound, get the 5 yards, the 4 yards, the 7 yard, the 8 yard, 12 yards, 6 yards, 38 yards. He can break that off.
Right.
So then they're thinking, then the defense ought to think, okay, maybe I need to creep up a little bit, put in a safety in the box, see if I can slow Derrick Henry down. Mm-hmm. You can't do that either. Because if you do that, you bring that extra safety down, you're leaving one-on-one with somebody, with Julio or AJ, and one of them is going to eat big time.
Right.
And you get across, we've seen it time and time again, you give a quick slant to AJ Brown. If he's only beating one man, number green ahead, as Deion Sanders would say, just go ahead and go to the sideline, get ready for the kickoff.
Right.
Because he's gone. And if you do the same thing with Julio Jones, same story.
Well, but I guess why I asked the question is it's based off the sample size. I'm gauging it from our last year's defense because we've proven that we can score really quick. But the thing is, we couldn't stop the opposing offense. We couldn't stop it. So
we couldn't stop a cold.
Right, and so I'm thinking to myself schematically, I'm trying to approach the game by manipulating the clock and keeping the other team's defense or offense off the field as much as possible.
I agree. I agree. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. And it's just, and I'm just like I said, I'm basing that off my sample size from last year, right? Basing off what we got last year. We could score, but we couldn't stop the other offense from scoring. So playing that shootout type of game is not our game. You know what I mean?
I agree.
We got to control that clock.
And that's where I will come in with this. As far as I was looking at it from a defensive side. Now looking at us, I agree with you. Tannehill, and this is really going to come down to Todd Downing and how he calls it. You got to be methodical. You got to play with the defense.
Right.
You got to make them think one thing, but you're going to do something completely different that they don't expect.
Right.
You got to be able, and first of all, we all know this. Anybody that play football, it starts up front.
Right.
We gotta get after it in the trenches. We got our offensive line going. It's gonna make everything on the offense flow a lot smoother. Either Derek's gonna have some good runs, you get a good run, maybe lead to the play action. Then that gives Tannehill time to scout the field and go through his progressions and his reads. So what I'm seeing is you kind of get Derrick Henry going, then you hit a little bit with AJ or Julio. You kind of lull them to sleep a little bit, maybe a little dink and dunk, maybe a couple of slanted in routes, lull them to sleep, come back to the run. Then, just when they're not thinking about it, you hit that big play on them.
Right.
You hit that big play. But I do agree, this year more than ever, we do need to control the clock. We're going to be playing, if you look at the schedule, we're going to be playing some really good offenses this year. I mean, you got Arizona, Buffalo, Kansas City. You know, those offenses are very good.
Right.
You know, I mean, I'm not going to, well, I could discredit Houston because, I mean, Deshaun Watson is probably not going to be playing much. If he is, I wouldn't discredit that.
Right.
But, you know, Indy has always been a thorn in our side. We got to watch out for them. So, I mean, we have to be methodical in our approach. We can't think too fast, but don't think too slow either.
Right.
So,
it's chess. You know, it's truly chess, man. It's truly going to be a chess game the entire season because it's going to vary week to week, right? Schematically, it's going to vary week to week. So, but as far as defense goes, I have faith in the additions that we've put on the roster for our defensive scheme. I have the most confidence in that, because I'm a Titans fan, and I try not to be biased, but at the end of the day, I gotta put my money where my mouth is, man. I gotta have faith in my team, and just hoping that the defense can turn that corner. That's all we can hope for. Is hope that the defense turns the corner and complements that offense, so that way we are getting that chip, we are getting that Super Bowl.
I got a question. For you then. You say you have faith in all of the additions, Bud Dupree coming in, Jenkins, we got Caleb Farley, and got some Elijah Molden, some very good picks. What is your confidence level in Shane Bowen though? Because that, again, I honestly think the pressure is really solely on the coordinators. Vrabel said it last year. Vrabel said it earlier this year that it wasn't the coach's fault, it was the players' fault. That the players had to step up. Now that J-Rob has went and got players, it's on them. It's on the coach. They don't have that excuse. So what is your confidence level in Shane Bowen being able to call this defense right?
I have confidence in him because I feel like he has confidence in himself. Right? I think he's kind of feeling himself. Now that title is, he's taking that to the head, which is what we need him to do. We need to take leadership of that locker room. As far as the defensive approach goes, I have confidence in him, and I also have confidence in Schwartz being back, adding his knowledge into the game. And I really feel like, low key, he's really going to be, calling the shots. That's my theory. I think he's going to be calling the shots. So, but Shane Bowen's going to get all the credit.
Right. and I agree with that because I think honestly that kind of does put some more pressure on Shane Bowen because it's like as he's calling plays. He's going to be looking over that, imaginary shoulder like, if I screw up, Schwartz is just waiting in the wings to take my job.
Just smiling.
So.
Just smiling in his advisory role, right? So, I mean, and if that happens, man, like, hey, it's whatever best for the organization. But the pieces that we have, having Caleb Farley being a one-of-one type of player, that generational talent, that once-in-a-lifetime kind of guy, he could be the next prime. He could be the next prime. So, if he can stay healthy, I'm confident in that. I'm confident in Jeffrey Simmons. I'm confident in him. The fact that, and I don't know if you ever heard it in D Weez and our shows, but I always mention that he should lose some weight. Because the amount of playing time he gets, the amount of snaps he gets significant time. So you have to be in shape, right?
That's true.
You got to be conditioned. And the fact that he is taking that approach and he's losing some weight now, staying away from the burritos.
Exactly.
Hey, salute to him. And he's got a lot to prove because there's guys that are wanting to take his time.
Yeah, and that's true, because I liked how he said that in the press conference, that he's taking that approach with, being on a better diet and being able to, shed some weight and not get on the things that he usually does.
Mm-hmm.
I really can't wait to see him and Danico Autry together, because in those trenches, they are going to be hell to deal with.
Right.
And we've already seen how those matchups between him and Quentin Nelson have been. They've been, it's been a battle. Right. It has been a battle. So,
hey, what if Quentin Nelson was a Titan, man? What if, right?
would solidify our offensive line greatly.
Right. If was the fifth, man, right?
Yeah, I know.
Talking about that offensive line that we have right now. Sorry to jump just straight from defense to offense so quickly.
Oh, no problem.
But we don't have a solidified right tackle. Who's going to fill that void, in your opinion?
Dylan Rayduns. He's going to start day one.
Without a doubt. Okay.
I have a feeling Dylan Rayduns is going to start off day one, in my opinion. I just think he's too talented of a guy. He got picked in the second round, and from all accounts, he's looking pretty good in OTAs.
Right.
Now, it would not surprise me, and I want to say Titan Upload might have mentioned this approach, that I think Ty Sambrailo will start maybe the first 4 games. Then after that, Dylan Rayduns will eventually take over and will be the guy going forward. But I honestly think Dylan Rayduns is going to start day one.
Okay.
In my opinion.
I agree with you.
Yeah. I think.
I just figured I'd ask everybody that comes on the show who their thoughts are, because like you said, it starts up front. So who's gonna be that final piece out there?
I agree, and I mean, and here's the thing about that. We know there's concern about Taylor Wan staying healthy and all. If that happens, you got Rayduns on the right side. You either can move him to the left and bring Sambrailo right, or you just kick Sambrailo to the left side. He's done that too. So that way you back up Lawan. Sambrailo's backing up 2 positions, basically. So, in retrospect, and then we also, I believe we still have David Quesenberry as well, just in case if Kendall Lamb just stinks, which Ken Moore is not a fan of his.
You took that name right out of my mouth. So one of our subscribers, I'm sure you've seen him on your channel in your chat. He goes by LBM in your chat. He brought something up to me the other day about potentially Kendall Lamb being utilized to be an eligible receiver. We all remember that play last year. I think it was week 13 against the Browns.
I unfortunately remember that.
Right. So maybe not using him, often, but he did score on us. He did. Whether it was 1 yard, 2 yards, he still scored. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think he could make this roster, or you think he's going to remain, kind of practice squad, somebody else to pick him up?
I think, honestly enough, with Kendall Lamb, with the amount that we paid him and we got him in free agency, he's probably going to be on the roster. I could see him being in that kind of a David Quesenberry role. You bring him in as an eligible receiver, especially in the jumbo package in the end zone. Right. I could see that, but that's about it for me. I mean, I don't really see him being like a contributor blocking on the offensive line, in my honest opinion. Maybe use him as an extra tight end or something like that, but if you bring him in, you know what's going to happen.
That's LBM made that comment the other day, and I was like, it got my thoughts going, like my head started racing. I was like, man, that could be something that Todd Downing might use in his methodical approach, right? So we'll see, man. It all varies. We have players that can do certain things, right? They're all good at something, and to be a successful team, you got to play your role. So if his number's tall, we ask him to go do that, we know he can do that because we've seen him do it.
Exactly. Right? Exactly.
Right. Hey, real quick, I'm gonna say something real quick as far as the viewers go. So if you don't know, Big Blu Enforcer is about 25 subscribers away from being at 1,000. If for some reason you haven't subscribed to this gentleman's channel, please go do so right now.
I need you.
He's put in the work, he's put in the man hours, and it's time to him to sit back and enjoy all of his hard work and all his accolades that he's had so far. So it's been a minute that he's been doing it, and he's gonna push that threshold, and he's gonna be able to soak in the benefits of the YouTube game, you know, because it does take time, right? It does take time. It does take a lot of preparation to come live, come knowledgeable, and come prepared in front of all your viewers, right? It's not an easy thing. So salute to you, man. You're one of the inspirations for D Weez and I to start our channel. You know,
hey, I appreciate that. I mean, I definitely, when I started all of this almost 5 years ago, which in October will be the 5-year anniversary of Titans and Truth. When I started this with, now I have to put this out with one of my sorority sisters, of course. For some of y'all that don't know, I am a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated.
PBS, man.
PBS, indeed.
I got a couple homeboys, man.
Yes.
Man, that are frat with
yes.
Yeah, salute.
Gotta get down with that. Might have to get you in there. Might have to get you in there. But when I started that with Miss Tamika, her nickname was Truth Hurts. So when we got together and thought of this concept, you know, it was really a team thing, but then, you know, she had to work some extra hours and things like that, so I had to kind of take more of a solo role. And so when all of this, you know, was really coming together, it was just, you know, I wanted to kind of put something together that really emphasizes talking about the Titans and talking about just things, because there weren't enough podcasts out there like all of us. And I mean, you know, you have Upload, who has been incredible.
He set the bar all the way.
He set the bar. He definitely set the bar. And then, you know,
salute to Mark, man.
Exactly.
He's a great individual, man. Salute to that man.
And Alex too, because
he's so positive.
And Alex too, Mr. Titan, because I mean, I remember being on his first show. This captain came up and just passed me by, and I had to tell him. I said, "You just snuck right past me," and I was just like, but it's amazing what he does with, you know, with his Mr. Titan show, with the cage talk that he does and things like that. And Ken Moore's coming up too. So it's, and with you guys as well, I think what everybody also understands is we are a connection. We are a family, and we're a team. You know, we all work together. We all, you know, make sure that we're not, you know, overlapping somebody else's show or anything like that. So it's really a community. And when I do all of this, you know, it's not about, honestly, it's not about subscribes. It's not about likes, even though I appreciate those.
Right.
It is simply because I love the Titans. I love football. I love the game. And I want to do this for a living, making money, you know, doing it, you know, on ESPN or Fox News or something like that. That's my passion. That's my goal. So doing this, yes, it's helping me to propel to that, but it's because I just love to do it.
It's a genuine love, man. Like,
it's a love.
I'm with you on that. Like,
you know,
D Weez and I are by no means any rush to get to 1,000 or to be able to monetize, man. But just to watch you, the hard work and dedication, it's gonna mean so much to us to see you be able to soak in that success, my brother, man. So salute to you in that regard, man, for sure, for sure.
And I see, you know, Titan Anderson out there. I can't, you know, I see some of his stuff too, so I won't leave him out in the cold on that one. So
right.
Shout out to Titan Anderson.
Titan Anderson, he's a homeboy of the Two Tone Zone, man. You know, him and I talk very often. You know, it's just, you know, for me, it's a Titan gang. You know what I mean? We're all part of one community, man, and we rock with him. And D Weez and I are actually going on his show tonight. At I think 7 p.m. Pacific time. So that'll be 8 p.m. Central Standard. So we'll be on his show tonight.
That's what's up.
Having a good time, man. So yeah, and then hey, we can't forget Tennessee Titans Weekly, man.
Yeah, we cannot. Facts. No paper.
Nashville's finest, man.
Yes, indeed, man. Those guys put together that good show where they were. I think they were on site somewhere, and they really put a good show together. And I like those guys. I got to get back in touch with them also. And Sin City Titan, I talked to him. I know they're in Florida, and I told him, I said, when the Titans go down to face the Bucks, there's a good chance I might be there, like in Florida.
I heard you say that on your show the other day.
So, and if I can sneak into one of them Bucks practices, I'm gonna be there with my Titans on. Man, so people might look at me like, "What are you doing here?" Like, Titan.
I got you. Yeah. Hey, you gotta look at him and say what?
Exactly.
What?
So, but shout out to everybody that does something like that. You know, hey,
Loaded.
I'll be appreciative if I get to 1,000 now, but if I don't, you know, I'm still gonna keep doing this. So
it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen before the end of the month. That's my prediction. That's my prediction.
We'll call it into existence.
Right,
Indeed.
right. And that's what you gotta do. Call into existence. Be positive, man. And while I'm talking about positivity and just speaking things into existence, me and my dad were watching your show earlier today. He said, "Man, it sounds like that boy need to be a preacher."
You don't know how many times I hear that. It's like my auntie would tell me, she's like, I can see you being a preacher, a minister. And I'm thinking, what am I going to give to the masses? They're not going to listen to me.
Nah, that ain't true. That ain't true. I've been told that about myself. My dad's actually a preacher. You know what I mean? So
yeah, but much respect though.
Right, and and then my people are actually from Memphis and Henning, Tennessee area.
Oh, so,
yeah. So I'm familiar out there in Shelby County, man.
That's what's up.
I'm familiar with the town, man. Absolutely.
That's what's up.
I'm gonna dig into some of these comments real quick.
Yeah, I know they're ready to get back to some football talk. I see
it. Yeah, they're definitely ready. LBM, that's my guy. I just shouted out.
Yeah.
Thank you, man, for getting those wheels turned in my mind on that Kendall Lamb perspective. But he said Dylan Redunz has first round hype. It was back end though. I think the Chiefs were mocked him before the trade, so I think he'll start as well. Yep.
Yeah. And there was some looking for around because they really thought that there might be a run on tackles in the first round. Because what I was shocked about was, you had, Penei Sewell go early and Rashawn Slater go early. And I honestly thought when we were at 22 and we picked Caleb Farley, Christian Darrisaw was sitting there. And I honestly thought the Colts were going to pick him up. And I was nervous about that because I knew they needed a left tackle. And I honestly thought they were just going to go in there and slide and get Christian Darrisaw. And when that didn't happen, I said it would not shock me if the Titans went ahead and went left tackle here in round one. And I actually wouldn't have been mad about it. Right. So, I mean, when I saw that,
Isaiah Wilson.
I don't think you would have been Isaiah Wilson. I mean, I haven't heard anything.
I'm just saying, like, just the first round,
But I think everybody probably was thinking that.
Hey, J-Rob was like,
Yeah, that's true. So, I mean, I understand that particular aspect of it. Like, oh, God, we don't want to make another mistake on that one. But, I mean, the fact that we got Caleb Farley, I was shocked we took the gamble, but I like it. I liked him as a player. We rebuke it in the name of Jesus about the injuries.
Don't put that evil out there, right?
Hey, he already said it. He told TD in a comment, they were like, if you're not, what about the people saying you're not gonna be ready for training camp? He's like, oh heck no, we rebuke that in the name of Jesus.
Right.
I said, I have gotta find that voice clip and save that. I gotta save it and use it.
Nah, definitely use that one. That's a good voice clip right there.
That would be a great one. Oh man, but yes,
that's funny.
Shout out to Sin City Titan though.
Yeah, Sin City Titan for sure. Let's read this comment. Said we finally have a strong Titans YouTube community. Super grateful to be a part of it. Shout out to Upload. Yes, indeed. And Titans Rossi too, man. You see his numbers jumping? Yeah,
I see him too. I checked out one of his shows a little bit, and he know what he's talking about. So I mean, I like it, and I try to keep up with everybody as best and as much as I possibly can.
Right.
And believe me when I tell you, to anybody that's doing it out there, if I'm a little late to the party, forgive me, but I'm gonna get there. Trust me on that. So believe me, we support each other. We got to do that, and.
Right.
That is definitely something there with that. But I wanted to ask you, and I think there was something that some people were bringing up. Have you been hearing this whole thing? I think there was a thing in Bleacher Report saying that a realistic possibility Zach Ertz could be a landing spot.
Yeah.
We could be a landing spot. I don't know.
That was my next topic, actually. You read my mind, brother. So I was watching your show the other day, and you were kind of on the same thought process with me as far as us having – the tight end by committee. Jeff Swain, Anthony Fertzker, how J-Rob expressed his confidence in our tight end core.
Yeah.
So I was kind of with that, and kind of just like closed the door on the tight end thing. But then that popped up this morning, and that thought kind of ran across my mind earlier in the like maybe the end of April. I would say that just kind of just thinking that just hey, that'd be nice to get Zach Ertz, and you know it might come to fruition. You know, and we might get him. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but J Rob got Julio, so
Yeah, and I think honestly, for that, yep, anything's possible. That much is true, but I think it'll come down to the money situation because I mean he does have an $8.75 million cap hit, and you know we may have to give up a late round pick. If it's a 6th rounder, if it's a 6th or 7th rounder, I'm fine with that. I am perfectly fine with that. But if it's like a 5, I mean, and maybe even a 5, but if it's anything other than that, I wouldn't do it. Mm-hmm. And I mean, but you also have, you know, Tyler Eifert, Trey Burton are out there as free agents. You could probably get Eifert or Burton probably at the veteran minimum the way it's going now. So there's still some options out there as far as tight ends, some good ones. So you may not necessarily have to trade, but I think if you get any one of those 3 guys, Eifert, Burton, or Ertz, I think our tight end room would look a whole heck of a lot better. Yeah. So I like the look of that, but you know,
he can block too. So yeah, when we run those jumbo packages, you know,
I agree, and I like that, and so that would make it so if we bring a certain person in, it doesn't make us one dimensional. Mm-hmm. So because a lot of times when you bring in like a Michael Pruitt or Jeff Swaim, it's like, oh, we know this is a run. We know this is a run. And if you bring in Enforcer, it's like, we know it's a pass. We know it's a pass. With Ertz or Eifert or Burton, you don't know. You have no idea. You don't know if it's going to be a run or a pass in that situation. So, I mean, I don't know if it's going to happen, but it would not shock me if it did.
Right. I got you. How are you gonna treat bandwagon Titans fans now?
You know, it's very interesting. I know a lot of people are starting to come to our side who are probably Julio fans. So, you know, I'm like a guy, I like in basketball, you know, I know a lot of people hate on him right now. I'm a LeBron fan.
You and me both. I was just about, man, you keep reading my mind, man. Get out my head.
Hey, great minds think alike. Great minds think alike. Right. So it's like, I'm not the biggest Laker fan in the world. I respect them. I'm a LeBron fan. So, you know, there'll be a lot of people that come over who are Julio fans. And I mean, don't get me wrong. If you come respectfully and you're willing to, if you're going to come to us, you better be with us through thick and thin no matter what. Right. Don't be joining us now and then if we start losing, be like, oh no, I ain't down for the team no more. Ain't no fair weather going on around here. Right. You gonna be fair weather, keep that stuff outside. But if you're like, I'm committed to this fan base, I'm committed to this team, come on in. We'll welcome you in. You know, I don't mind that. But if you in, be all in.
Right.
Like us.
For
like most of the people in here.
Hey man, I kind of press people a little too hard when they tell me they're a Titans fan, because I start trying to ask them. I try to check their Titans acumen. You know what I mean? And
I agree. I can understand.
If they say one thing off, I'm like, all right, man, have a great day. I'm out of here. Like,
hey, I'll tell anybody, look, test me, because I mean, I've been a fan of the Tennessee Titans really since about 1996.
Right.
And so
I was an Oilers fan as well.
You know, it started off for me when Eddie George and McNair got drafted. Right. And so, of course, I did slightly remember as a kid, I was maybe 9 years old, 8 or 9 years old, when the Oilers blew that lead to the Bills. Mm-hmm. And so I slightly remember that, watching that as a kid. I probably didn't watch everything of it, but I do remember that.
That was the first time in like NFL history that happened too. That they
had a 35-3 lead and lost the game.
Yep,
and
I remember that. Yep.
I mean, that was incredible. But when that happened, and I said, you know, because, and I'll make fun of myself, from about age 7 to about age 12, I will tell anybody I was one of the biggest Dallas Cowboy fans there was at that time. I was a kid. I was a kid. So everybody don't question it now.
But that was America's football team at that time.
That was America's team at the time.
Emmitt Smith,
and
Michael Irvin.
And my dad, rest in peace to my pops. He was one of the biggest 49er fans there was. And so we would always go at it. Whenever the Cowboys and the 49ers played, we go at it. I bring Emmitt Smith. He brings in Jerry Rice. I had the Emmitt Smith jersey, the starter jacket back in the day. Right. When starter, I hate they don't have starter jackets now. They need to bring that back.
Eventually it will. They'll come back. And
so that was how that started. And then when he kind of passed away, I kind of didn't really feel the same. And so when Eddie George and Steve McNair drafted maybe about a year or two later, I started looking, I said, man, I see this team in Houston, they kind of cooking up something. I'm like, right. I kind of want to take a look at them. And then when they got here in Memphis, it was kind of like, okay, I'm starting to kind of get on board with this a little bit. They moved to Nashville. I'm like, I'm all in. I'm in. Right. I'm in. And ever since then,
what if they stayed in Memphis though? Man, you'd have been at so many more games.
I probably would have. I don't know if I would have moved. I don't know if I would have moved to Nashville the first time. Right. Because of that. Because that was one of when my wife moved to Nashville, and then I moved with her. That was one of my driving forces when I moved up there. I'm like, the Titans are there. This got my juices flowing. Right. And so. It's been like that, and even back here, I don't care where I go now, going forward, even if I never return to Nashville, if I move to Timbuktu on the other side of the country, I will still be wearing my Titan blue all day, every day.
Absolutely, man.
I ain't going nowhere.
Do you wear Titans gear every day, except for like when you go to work and church or whatever? I do.
I may not wear it every day, but I have Titans gear all over the place, and
my wife keeps me laced with Titans gear. My nephew, I come downstairs, he's like, man, he said, dude, like, how much Titans gear you got? I said, hey, shout out to my wife Brianna on that one. She keeps me laced with Titans gear.
I'll give a shout out to my wife Ashley. She tolerates my affinity for Titans gear. She tolerates that because I just got an AJ Brown jersey, and I got an AJ Brown jersey. Then, as soon as the trade happened and they made the number official, I had to go get the Julio jersey.
Right. Hey, that's on its way for me.
Yeah. I got the Navy. I got the Navy one. So, I already got it ordered. It's on its way. And then I went ahead, I believe on Fanatics, and I got a Kevin Byard. So, I got that one on the way, too.
Man, dude. It's going to be Christmas in June for you.
Woo! You're not lying.
I can't get no white jersey, man. I might spill some barbecue sauce on it or something during the game.
That is, with white, I have to be very specific when I wear white jerseys. If I'm going to wear white, it has to be somebody I either really, really love or somebody that maybe I eventually will frame and put on my wall. Right. So that might be what I do with that. So
I got you, man. Since we're on the topic of the love for the Tennessee Titans, man, what's your all-time favorite Tennessee Titan moment?
Oh man, that ooh, it's so many. It's so many to go through that I can't even think about it. But let's see. I will say, well, here's what I'll do. I'll give my top three.
Okay.
I'll give my top three.
Take your time, Pastor.
All right. Listen to me, congregation. I will say one of my first moments, even though it was a sad moment, would be Super Bowl 34.
Okay.
When the Titans win there, or 33.
Did you cry?
I did not cry, but I was very upset at the end of the game.
Say, I was I was probably about 10, 11 years old. I cried. I want to lost to the Ravens in the playoffs, the Raiders in the playoffs. Man, I cried. But my bad.
I understand. I understand. My bad. It hurt me too. It hurt me too. I understand. So when that happened, I was angry, and all I kept saying, I think I was a junior in high school at that time, going into being a junior in high school, or it might have been sophomore going to junior year, and all I kept saying was, He's in. He was in. He was in. Replay. Call the replay. He was in. I will take that to my grave. Kevin Dyson was in. That was a touchdown. They should have reviewed it. We should have been going to overtime and taking the win. I will take that to my grave. Everybody will try to say, look, get over it, dog. He stopped him. I'm like, no. Kevin Dyson was in. That was a touchdown. They should have reviewed it, and the rest was trying to get out of there. So that was a sad moment for me.
Yeah, it really was. It really was.
Another moment, and I won't count this one even though because we lost to, was I believe we played the Cincinnati Bengals. I cannot remember the exact year, but I want to say it might have been 2009. I think that was my very first game. Well, at the time it was LP Field before it became Nissan Stadium. But that was my very first game in that building. I want to say AJ Green and Andy Dalton, and I just remember that because every time Andy Dalton was dropping back past the ball, I was telling everybody around, I'm like, they're going to AJ Green. How do you not see this? Mm-hmm. It's like he's going to AJ Green every time. And so that was my memory because that was my first game. But I would say one of my best memories ever, and there were plenty, was the Eagles game. That Corey Davis caught that game winner from Marcus.
I was so hyped. I was so hyped when he caught that ball, man. He went up there and got that. Like
he went and got it. He went and got it. And I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, of course, both of them gone. I mean, yeah, I understand. That was a hell of a ball. That was a heck of a game. That was a heck of a game.
He put the ball only where Corey Davis go get it. That was a hell of a pass.
Exactly. So that game. That game was just fun because I remember doing the video. I was doing the video, and I actually got that video on my channel. I was doing it and catching the touchdown, and all I did was I was like, yeah. Almost dropped the phone and everything. But I think in being in Nissan Stadium, that was one of my favorite moments. But I will have to say my favorite game was the game against the Seattle Seahawks. That was a fun game.
Okay. That
was a fun football game. Two good teams going at it. DeMarco Murray, I think, busted off a long run. You saw LaJuan and my frat brother Richard Sherman kind of jawing at each other and stuff like that. But that was probably my best game that I attended at Nissan Stadium.
Man, I miss DeMarco Murray, man. He doesn't get enough credit.
Yeah, I agree.
He was a cold running back. He was a difference maker, a playmaker. You know what I mean? He extended plays.
He did. So, and I mean, I know a lot of people would think, well, Derrick Henry didn't get started off early. That's because DeMarco Murray was there and he led the AFC in rushing at the time. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, in a way, I think we kind of gave up on DeMarco a tad too soon, but I understand they were ready for Derrick Henry to roll, and the rest is history.
Right. My favorite moment as a Tennessee Titans fan was when I got to meet Steve McNair. My cousin Craig Johnson used to be a quarterback coach for the Titans, and so I got a chance to go to St. Thomas Park to go watch them practice. I got to walk around the facilities, and after the game, they were playing the Ravens. I got to meet Steve McNair, and man, that was probably the best moment of my life, man. That was that's something that to this day, that was magical for me. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace to him too. I know. He was Omega Psi Phi. He wasn't frat, but still part of that Divine Nine, man.
He is right, absolutely. And I will also say, I have a side note. I remember meeting Eddie George personally. Nice. So this is what happened. In Nashville, there was a place called Monell's, a nice restaurant, and you have it where basically you and your people come in, but you're gonna be sitting wherever, and you may have
that's cafeteria style, that restaurant.
Almost like that. It's not buffet style, but it's basically where it's like community style. So because you're coming in and you don't know who's sitting with you. So unless you got a whole table full of your people, you may have about 4 or 5 people, and then there may be another party of 4 or 5 people coming in. You don't know them or nothing, and they're sitting at your table too. So it's good because you get to know different people and talk to different people, and you may have different conversations. So around my birthday, and I believe this was about maybe 3 years ago, so we were leaving. My wife and I were leaving, and some of our friends were there, And one of my frat brothers, one of my line brothers was like, hey, ain't that Eddie George right there? And I was like, yeah, you know, I see him sitting with his family. I see him and his wife from SWV sitting there with his son, because I think his son just finished playing a game. And so he was like, man, you should go over there and introduce yourself to him. I'm like, nah, man, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna go over there like that. You know, they have a family time. I'm not gonna interrupt that. You know, that's family time. And so my line brother, shout out to Mark Hayes, by the way, he goes over and tells Eddie, you like, hey, my frat brother, man, he really would like to meet you. He's a big fan, big time fan. I'm like, oh my God, you done interrupted this man's family breakfast and all that. He ain't gonna want to meet me. But right. Eddie was, I mean, a class act. He met, we shook hands, took a picture, we talked for a second. But I could tell his wife was like, you interrupting this thing. So so I was like, you know, I was like, you know, I didn't want to keep it too long, but yeah, I got a picture with Eddie George, and I was like, I couldn't even believe it, because I didn't have the guts to go over to him like that.
Right. Man,
I couldn't.
I probably would have walked over there and sat next to him, like, man, what's going on?
I'm like, I don't know if I'd have had the nerve, because, like I said, his wife is an SWV, so I'm like, she might sing me out the restaurant. So,
hey, man, salute to SWV, man, when R&B was R&B.
Man, what? That was a good. And just a side note, I know we off of football for a second, but shout out to them and Escape. That was a great versus battle that they had.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I watched that. Yeah, I watched that.
Yes.
So hey man, let's pivot back to football.
Let's do that.
So as of right now, if Ryan Tannehill was no longer a Tennessee Titan, would he go down as one of the Tennessee Titan greats?
I don't know if I would necessarily call him one of the Tennessee Titan greats, but I think we will be acknowledging him for a lot of what he did. Yeah. I think he definitely would be greater than Jake Locker, Marcus Mariota, and I would dare I say better than Vince Young. Even though I know Vince Young is an unsung hero, and I know somebody's gonna say I'm speaking blasphemy right now.
But the media, they put their whole spin on it, man, and they made that man look worse than what it really was. You know what I mean?
And
they did that man dirty.
And I mean, I would still give a shout out to Vince, because I mean, the guy was still 31-17 as a starting quarterback, and so, you know, he was leading us to wins, which is something very important. Something Jake Locker couldn't do, and something that, you know, but even though Marcus Mariota does have one thing Vince Young doesn't have, a playoff win.
Right.
And Tannehill has 3 playoff wins, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
So
what's it going to take, in your opinion, for him to become a Tennessee Titan great, to win the Super Bowl for us?
I would say, because Steve McNair got to a Super Bowl and nearly won one, Tannehill's gonna have to win one, and he's gonna have to be a reason that happens. It can't be, well, he was the quarterback, but Derrick Henry really carried him to that. Right. He's got to be able to bring, you know, a good 200 some odd yard game and a couple of touchdowns in that Super Bowl to do it.
Gotcha. I got you. All right, let's. I have another similar question for you. Is Julio Jones automatically one of the Tennessee Titan greats?
Ooh, let me watch him for a year first.
Okay.
Because right. I mean, you know, we've seen a few amazing receivers in our time. I mean, not until now with AJ, you know, and I mean, Corey was okay, but AJ, I mean, has done amazing, and I think Julio is going to come in and do that too. But I mean, you had guys like a Derek Mason, you had guys like a Kevin Dyson, or Chris Sanders. I mean, Drew Bennett came in as an undrafted free agent, was a backup quarterback, and ended up becoming a great receiver for this team. You know, go back to the Oilers days with Haywood Jeffries and I forgot. I know there was somebody else. I know there was somebody else. I cannot remember his name. He did the shaking and all that. And Ernest Givens, thank you, Ernest Givens. That's who that was. And I mean, those guys who were, I mean, amazing receivers. But if Julio has one big time impact season, I think, honestly enough, he could go down as probably the greatest Titan receiver besides A.J. Brown.
I got you, man. I think just the fact that Julio Jones is a Titan makes him one of the greats, man. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
And,
I like that.
Because I can say no about Randy Moss just because I was never a Randy Moss fan.
I hated the way that happened with him on this team. Yeah. I'm thinking when he came in, I'm thinking Jeff Fisher was like, well, we can't put him and Kenny Britt on the field at the same time and they play the same position. I'm thinking, forget that. Find a way to get both of these guys on the field at the same time. But then you got Rusty Smith throwing to him instead of Vince Young.
Right.
I'm like, if you have that, it would have been better.
Sin City threw a throwback name out there, Yancey Thigpen. I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Yancey Thigpen and Carl Pickens and all them didn't do a daggone thing as a Titan because neither one of them could get on the field like that. I guess because of injury. I think it was injury because I want to say Yancey Thigpen was on the team when we got to the Super Bowl, but I think he was injured. That's why he didn't play.
I got you.
So I'm like, nah, I can't really put him on there.
For sure. I know AJ Brown's gonna go down as one. I hope he can remain a Tennessee Titan throughout the remainder of his career. I hope he can retire with it.
I think I have no doubt in my mind that's gonna happen because I mean AJ's a priority. I think AJ has to be a priority. I mean, if they let AJ go, because I mean even after this year they need to go ahead and lock him up. Lock him up before year 4, so there ain't even no question.
Facts, man. Let me dig into some of these comments. I feel like I've been leaving these folks hanging. Hey, how are you?
Yeah.
Are you pressed for time, my guy?
Oh, absolutely not.
All right. Okay, cool.
Absolutely not.
I just feel like I've been neglecting the listeners, man.
Hey, I think I'll take the blame for that, y'all. We love football, y'all.
No, we love these Titans, man. That's all it is. And
I see Walter Jennings and Mr. Titan and Sin City Titan, Big O, and all them. Shout out to all of y'all listening too.
So, man, hey, Mr. Titan, thanks for tuning in, man. I think that's the first time I see him in the chat.
No, I've seen him a couple of times in the chat. He's been in here.
In my chat? Oh, okay. I guess
in this chat.
I gotta get better. I gotta get better.
I mean, it's a work in progress, but yeah, I mean, with him saying about Kenny, I mean, Kenny did have potential, and he just could not get out of his own way sometimes. And with the injury. And then, he couldn't stay out of the way of the law and all that stuff. I mean, Kenny had potential because I still remember, I want to say it was a particular season, I think Matt Hasselbeck was the quarterback. And he was off to a terrific start the first 3 games. Had like 18 catches, almost 300 yards in his first 3 games. It looked like he was on his way to a Pro Bowl season that year. And then he tore his ACL and was out. And I think that might have been his last year as a Titan, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember. But, I mean, so much potential that was wasted.
Yeah, I don't know. I never really got on board with Hasselbeck. Never really got on board with that, man. Just to be honest with you.
I still trip off him in Seattle.
I just don't know why. I just was like, he just didn't seem like a Titan. He didn't seem like a Titan, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, I like Captain Trips talking about Javon. I mean, he definitely goes down as one of the Titan greats.
Yeah, Javon Curse, man, a freak.
Absolutely. Oh, I like this comment. I was downtown on 2nd Ave during that playoff game too. I think I was at I think it was called the George Jones Bar. That day, that the comeback where Mario threw the ball to himself. I remember exactly where I was for that game.
Man, hey, I wish I was there. I was at the house though with the kids watching the game.
I understand. Family first.
My kids get scared when they watch the game. And you're like, man, is that crazy? Yeah, they get scared messing with me.
Hey, my wife would be thinking. My wife would probably think the same thing. I think honestly she kind of tolerates it and understands that because she was like, she knew I was a fanatic and a football fan when she met me. She already knew this. She already knew the deal. So it would be different if she didn't know that and then learned it after the fact. I think she'd have been like, I'm terrified. So.
Oh, that's crazy, man. Hey, if you haven't already, folks, hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Please jump over to
Smack it.
Titans and Truth and make sure y'all subscribe to his channel if for some reason you are not already subscribed. Salute to everybody in this group chat right now, all the Titans YouTubers. Much respect for all you guys. And I have a few more questions for you that I want to ask, man.
Hit
So
me.
I've already admitted that I cried when we lost, very meaningful games. Not the past. I was really mad when we lost to the Ravens. I was mad when we lost to the Chiefs. But I didn't cry. But when I was a kid, we lost the Super Bowl. I cried, and some playoff games against the Raiders and the Patriots. We lost those type of games. I cried. But if we win the Super Bowl, are you gonna shed a tear?
I'll probably have to say I wouldn't know until that moment, but
I got you.
It would not surprise me if I did, because that would probably be, besides me marrying my wife, and besides me becoming a member of Phi Beta Sigma, that would probably go down, whenever that happens, that will probably go down as one of the happiest days and moments of my life, and nobody will ever be able to take that away. The day the Titans win the Super Bowl, I probably would cry tears of joy. I will probably be like on my knees, just like, I cannot believe this is happening. It would be like, you could not stop my happiness if that happens.
Well, it's gonna be tears. It's gonna be tears of happiness for me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a sensitive dude. I'm gonna cry.
It would be like,
if we win the chip, I'm definitely gonna shed.
It would basically be like, is this real? Am I asleep? Pinch me. Am I awake? That kind of moment. So I mean, I don't know necessarily I would shed a tear, but I would just be so happy I would not know what to do. Like, my body would probably go numb from being so happy.
You gonna go somewhere else and cry, Ain't nobody around. You gonna go cry somewhere.
I mean, and I wouldn't be ashamed of it either. I probably would not have a voice the next day. So
just screaming, man, running all over town, man.
Man, I like what City Titans saying, like, man, don't know what to do when we win the Super Bowl. He like, I wouldn't be able to go to sleep. I'm like, I don't know if I'd be able to go to sleep either, but the day the Titans in the Super Bowl, I'm like, shoot, look, the next 2 days I gotta take off work. I can't. I'm not gonna be able to work right now because I'm gonna be too pumped up. And then when I do walk into work, I'll be walking in with my chest pumped out.
Yo, I got another question for you too. When the Titans lose, does that ruin the rest of your week?
Oh, absolutely. I don't want to talk to anybody. Absolutely. When that happens, it's like, because I know I have some of my frat brothers who are other people fans, some of my sorority sisters who are other fans, teams of other fans and stuff. Because here in Memphis, it's Cowboys and Steelers fans. They come claim on and be like, what happened to them Titans? I'll be like, just shut up. Get away from me. Get away from me. I don't want to talk to none of you. I'll be like Stephen A. If you ain't a Tennessee Titans fan, you make me sick. That's exactly what I would do.
With TA. I mean, I said TA. I just read a comment with TA. That's why I said TA. I'm on the fence with Stephen A. Smith. I'm on the fence with that man. Like, I just, with the national media, I don't know if I can trust him. I just don't know if I can trust them. Like, one day they'd be on our side, and all of a sudden they're really against us. I'm like, man, nah.
But that's national media. But that's national media.
But that's what makes YouTube so special. You know what I mean? Especially for Tennessee Titans fans, because we barely get any national attention anyhow. So when we all go on, the Titans community they look forward to this, man. So
I agree.
It makes our jobs more meaningful.
But I will say this. I tell this to anybody all the time. The one show that gives us love on a consistent basis is Good Morning Football on the NFL Network. Mm-hmm. They are the only show that even mentions us consistently. It's not a once in a blue moon or whenever something big happens. They usually talk about us at least once or twice out of the week. They talk about us.
Nate Burleson. Who's the other cat?
I want to say Kyle Brandt. I think it's the other guy, or Peter Strager.
Kyle Brandt, because the other guy really he kind of hates on us a little bit.
Yeah,
more hating the system for the Titans.
And I know Kay Adams is I think she's a Bears fan, but she cooperates, shows some love too.
She's a moderator.
Yeah, she's like in the middle.
Yeah.
She's like the moderator, like you said. But and oh man, did you check out Nate's burlesque?
It's burlesque. Yep, I did.
Man, I was like, he was on point. I had put it on Twitter. I said, "Listen up, boys and girls. This is a teaching moment right here."
Right. Hey man, he's solid, man. One day I hope I get to meet him. He's a solid cat.
Me too.
He just seems like it's good vibes, good energy all around. And
I agree.
Always speaking truth, man. I
Yes.
like him. And for the past, because he's been on Good Morning Football for about, 3 seasons now, 4 seasons?
I want to say about 4 seasons.
Yeah, and from day one, he's always showed his love. You can go back and watch tape. He's always showed his love.
And I mean, oh my God, I hate that I couldn't have been at Honky Tonk, or I forgot where they did the show during the draft. I wish I could have been there, but I know they were talking about being up at like before 6 a.m. and I couldn't get up that early. But I mean, if I could have been in the house to see that and been around it, because I'm like, that's one of my favorite shows. If I could, I could just watch Good Morning Football all day and be just fine.
Right, I'm with you. I'm with you. Shane Loki agrees with us. He said, "Yes, it ruins my week every time." That's in reference to Titans losing it ruining your whole week.
It does. I'm like, when that happens, I don't even want to talk to anybody because I know what's gonna happen.
Right.
I know what's gonna happen and what everybody is gonna say, because everybody is going to. Everybody's going to hound on me. They're going to be like, what happened to your Titan? What happened to your Titan? I'm going to be like...
Right. Yeah, man, I give people a look, man. Don't play with me the wrong way.
I'll be like, no, I don't feel like talking right now.
Don't play with me the wrong way right now.
Go talk about something else.
Oh, man. Hey, folks, I want to remind you real quick. Tonight, D Weez and I will be on Titan Anderson's show. So, to be sure to tune in to his channel tonight. Will be going on at 7 p.m. Pacific time. So make sure you tune in. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to every Titans YouTuber that you know of.
Exactly.
Show love, help us all grow. Help us.
Hit this like button on this show. Right, I just went and did it. Hit the like button.
Let me ask you something, man. Do you like this show? You like it?
I love the vibe. I like the vibe. I think it's fun. I
got you, man.
I can talk football for hours. I mean,
I love your show, man. I tune in every Wednesday.
Hey, I gotta make sure I'm gonna keep tuning into this one too. So right. I will definitely keep my mind up.
This week it was Thursday you went on, right?
Yeah, I went on Thursday because I believe I had something. I wasn't all prepared Wednesday because I had to work a little late, so that's why I couldn't do it Wednesday. I went Thursday this time, but I will definitely tune in because it'll be about 9 o'clock my time when y'all go on. I will definitely try to be in the house and definitely try to watch and definitely check it out. But man, y'all doing great things. You with D Weez and started with Big Old Titan, so that was a shout out.
Yeah, shout out to Big Old Titan, man. It was a blast having him on the show. I feel like I feel like I've known that brother for years, man. Similar to you, man. You know what I'm
saying? Exactly. And I mean, and I will say this: what I got coming up, I know we're about to call it a night. What I got coming up, I'm trying to work with getting some lady broadcasters on, getting some media people on, because what I'm going to try to do, I want to have a kind of a round table, a little bit of how people got into business, what motivated them to be in the business that they're in, since, hey, some of us are trying to get to that point. So, try to get them on, like, how did they get to where they are? What training did they have to go through and things like that, as far as college and, getting to where they are now. So, I'm working with Teresa Walker from the Associated Press.
Okay.
I'm also trying to see if I can get Emily Proud from News 2 in Nashville. I may try to see if I could get my guy, my main man, TD Teron Davenport from ESPN. I might try to get him.
On the show before.
I've had him. Yeah, I've had him on a few times.
I like TD, man. I'm not gonna lie, because hearing TD, it's just like a breath of fresh air, when he asks his question. Because some of the questions be like, "Did you really just ask that?"
Exactly.
Like
exactly.
They asked Jeffrey Simmons if he went vegan. Do you think that big brother's going vegan? Like, you know, at least TD be having some solid questions every single
Right.
time, man.
I'm like, you don't ask a big dude if he's going vegan. What's wrong with you? So, but I mean, my ultimate dream is one day to either get Mike Keith, or Coach McGinnis.
Right.
I swear to God, every time I hear him talk, it's like, if I could sit down with him, I just think I could talk football with him for
All day.
hours, all day. Because I just feel like I would learn so much just from those few hours talking to him.
Right.
So that's what I got.
He's been with us. Mike, he's been with us for a long time, man.
Man.
So he knows it all. He could probably recant games verbatim. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Play by play.
Man.
Hey, but salute to Mr. Titan. Didn't he have Mike Keith on the show?
He did have him. He did have him.
Yeah, Amy Wells too.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. Got some people I couldn't get.
Right. Hey,
but no, that was shout out to him.
Hey, respect to that, man. I mean,
man, much respect. Much respect.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Titans Weez is in the building, man. Let's make sure we show my guys some love.
Man, what's up?
We're gonna get him on the show soon, y'all too. Titans.
Yes.
We're working out some time and some dates to make sure there's
absolutely
no restrictions there. He says wearing my cleats just because tonight. Oh man, hey, you stay ready. You ain't gotta get ready, man. They might call your number, man.
Hey, love it.
Right. Let's dig into some of these comments real quick, man. Walter Jennings says, that is where I was at on 2nd Avenue. Just couldn't remember the name.
Yeah, the George Jones. That's where I was at.
Coach Mack is the greatest. Yeah, I respect Coach Mack. I love when he does his breakdowns. It's like on a Microsoft breakdown. He breaks down plays.
Yeah.
I like him.
I do.
Do they still do the OTP videos on YouTube?
They do the podcast. They do.
I haven't watched that in a long time.
I haven't watched that in a minute either, and I need to go back because I think the last time I listened to it, they were talking about some stuff before the draft.
Right.
And, I mean, he has an incredible breakdown of a lot of different players in the draft, like just for every position. It was incredible. So, I mean, that was great. And, you know, Mr. Titan having Mike Keith on, I mean, that...
He had homeboy from Blitz too, from
Lance Smith.
Yeah, Lance Smith on the Eddie George show. I love Eddie George on that show.
Yeah, I do too. And I mean, that is I absolutely agree with that. And I mean, I got to meet Mike Keith as well, and was able to get a quick little video with him a long time ago, because I think I went. That was the year Rashaan Evans and Harold Landry got drafted. I was able to meet him and talk to him for like a moment. And I also remember I actually met Amy Adams Strunk too, and got her in a little bit of a video too. So that was incredible.
They treat her like the first lady, man. How'd you get to her?
She is. And I mean, Amy Adams Strunk is every bit the classy lady that you see. I mean, just the nicest somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just incredibly classy.
I just watch her. You know, the vibes I get. I never met her, of course, but just the vibes I get, man. She just seems like a nice woman. Like, you know what I mean? She'll give anybody anything if they need it. You know,
exactly.
She probably answer her phone late at night if somebody called her, like one of the players. You know what I mean? They had a problem. Mm-hmm. That's the vibe I get from her.
Yes, I do too, and absolutely. I can't say no.
I'm not gonna read that one.
We'll just leave it up there.
Right? Yeah. I'm not gonna read that one.
But we know what that means.
You're gonna get me in trouble too. You know. Oh man, that's funny. Hey, who do you think will be the first person from national media to recant their statements and swallow their words on the Tennessee Titans when we win the Super Bowl? Who's gonna be the first, man?
That's a good question.
And I think Skip Bayless is going to continue to hate. I don't like Skip Bayless, man.
Skip. I have my reservations when it comes to him. Although when him and Stephen A. did a show, when they had First Take, I used to love watching them go at it. I love watching them argue with each other. And it was just, if it's nothing else, it's pure, unadulterated comedy. If you wanted to laugh, go back on YouTube and watch the two of them go at it. Right. Because it is laughing at its core.
I think there might be some real issues between them unless Fox just gave Skip the bag.
I think that might have been the case with that, because I mean, you know, they were doing a great show, and then all of a sudden he's gone and goes to Fox with Shannon. I want to say, if there's anybody that might recant their statement and actually show some love, maybe I would probably venture to say maybe Max Kellerman on First Take could be one. I will probably say that, perhaps. But, I mean, and I said this on my show the other night. Keyshawn Johnson's a clown. Colin Cowherd's another one, or as some people say, Colin Cowturd is another one that I just think he'll try to spin it and make it seem like, oh, when we win the Super Bowl, oh, I was with this team all along. Oh, I knew they were gonna do it.
That's my guy who I think is gonna be the first to swallow their words and all of a sudden hop on the bandwagon.
Mm-hmm.
That's my thought. That's my guess, man. I love it. Hey,
oh damn.
So do you think Rashad Weaver is gonna be? I mean, because I know he just got signed, and we were all like skeptical if they were going to sign him or not, and what was going on with those those allegations and those charges. The Tennessee Titans must have some type of insight on that, to where he's innocent, because they wouldn't have signed him. I don't think Amy Adams Trump would have let him become a Tennessee Titan if he truly did something like that.
I agree, and that was kind of again, we were in each other's brains,
right?
Because when I saw that signing coming down, I'm thinking, okay, they might have gotten some more information. Maybe that whole thing that happened, maybe it didn't happen exactly the way that people perceive that it went down. Again, I'll tell you about it. I'm no legal expert, so I don't know. The facts will come out, but it must have been, maybe there's a settlement coming, or that some things might have been misconstrued, and maybe it's not as bad as we thought it was going to be. So that's what I thought.
It's just the national media got a hold of it and just automatically made him look like a bad person.
But then again, he kind of said that himself, like, I do that, or they got what they deserve, or something like that. I was like, oh man, you shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't have said that, because they're gonna take anything that you say, even if you ain't mean it toward the person,
right? And
they'll turn to spin it. Like, you remember? Have you heard of the movie Head of State with Chris Rock?
That movie? Hey, that movie was ahead of his time, man.
Because he was running for president, and he was just spewing off camera with some other reporters. He was just talking.
Right, and they edited just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
A little excerpt from it, and then
just a little excerpt, and made it look like he was saying something real bad. Like, well, of course we should go. Of course we should do that. They're building bombs and things like that. So it's like some people would take just a very little thing and spin it.
Right.
To their advantage.
That's true. That's true. Hey, Titans Rossi says, have you guys noticed the new players talking about how the Titans locker room is like a high school atmosphere? That's pretty cool. No, I agree, man. They all sound like they're having fun. They all sound like they're brothers. They're down to go the extra mile for one another.
I agree.
Being able to compete while still being able to take that experience or take that opportunity to coach someone up, or to kind of take them along the path of progression. Getting each other better, holding each other accountable, and they're having fun. So I think it was they said it was like a college atmosphere. They feel like they were like back in college again. Yeah,
and it feels, at least from that OTA practice, I know it's going to get ramped up with mini camp next week and in training camp. It just feels like they're a lot more loose now. And it just seems like they're having fun, like you said. And it's not that whole, maybe last couple of years it felt like they had the pressure. It was a little bit too tight, and it wasn't loosened up. But now it's like they've loosened up a bit. And so that's a good thing.
For sure. So, I coach basketball, so I get like a new team every season, right? So I coach AAU basketball. So I get a new team like every spring, every winter, every fall. And it's always trying to manage those attitudes, trying to make people feel like they're a part of the team. Try to work on some on teamwork building skills, and just spending time with one another, being able to communicate, being able to call each other out, hold each other accountable. Like I witness that all the time. And playing sports myself, man, that's a beautiful feeling, bro.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's when you play your best.
And I mean, I play high school ball. I play high school football. So, when you have that connection, that brotherhood, like, you're going to go to bat for each other. And that camaraderie, it goes a long way. And I mean, because there were times when I was in high school, shout out to Whitehaven class of 2001, Whitehaven High School, Memphis, Tennessee. One thing about it was, as a football team, we did a lot of things together. And it's like,
that's South Memphis, isn't it?
Well, not South Memphis. Whitehaven is closer to Mississippi. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah. But, but shout out to South Memphis and North Memphis. I know there's some people out there. But, I mean, it just seemed like we were tight-knit, connected. Like, there would be time where we're going to lunch during the school day. There's a whole table that's none but football players. Like, that's our table. And we all sit there, we're eating and we're talking or whatever, or we're joking and messing with each other or whatnot. And it's a family affair. And I like that.
Right.
You got to have that camaraderie because...
Man, that's so beautiful, man. I miss those days.
I do too.
I miss them. So, like, I get hyped up with my team. When we have a success, we celebrate it. Even like win or lose, like I try to find the successes and build on, especially with kids. You don't want to hold them accountable and tell them the truth about themselves, but you also want to coach them up, right?
Absolutely.
And so,
absolutely.
Just to see the progress being made, and I was kind of questioning Vrabel having the respect of that locker room at the end of last year's season, but I think they got rid of all the bad eggs in the locker room that were there, that were causing negativity and pointing fingers and just not being a team first type of player. I think those players are gone now. I think they're gone, and I think Vrabel's now has commanded the respect of that locker room once again. But through this through this mini camp that's coming on and going through preseason, he's definitely going to see the progress being made. And
I agree.
Be good for us to sit back and watch.
Absolutely. So, and I see, Mr. Titan. Don't be calling those girls whiny, Mr. Titan. Come on now.
I have to coach high school, man. I'm helping my son's team out right now. I'm an assistant. I'm just assisting. He's 7 years old. He's actually cold, by the way. He's actually really nice. But I'm helping out with him and his team, so I'm being able to learn how to deal with the younger group.
Do you have somebody on that team? Do you since somebody who's on that team is just like, I'm going to say, I'm a joke on this one. Me, Sean, since he decided to butt on us. You have somebody like a B. Sean on that team is like, give me the ball. And y'all might have to shut him down. Do you have a guy like that on the team?
No.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah, no, we don't got it. I mean, they're all like 6, 7 year olds. They're just out there having fun, trying to learn.
I like that.
And it's fun for me because it helps me take a step back and just learn the mindset of a young kid. Because I was a young kid once, but I don't really remember. Of course, it was so long ago. But as a dad, as a coach, I'm just learning. So we got to get out of our comfort zones to be able to grow. Because life doesn't begin until you get outside your comfort zone.
I agree.
To be able to take risks and do.
And there are some times that I do think about, like, my wife would tell me quite often, she's like, you really should consider going into coaching at some time because she would say, I think you would be really good at it.
I think so too, brother. I said that for a reason. I put it out there because I wanted to see your thoughts, man. I think you should coach,
And I've given some thought to that. And I think when we were living in Nashville and she talked about that, I said, I'm not sure of it because I haven't really gotten to know or understand like the high school or the junior high atmosphere of football in that city because, I was kind of new to it. Now that I'm back here in Memphis, I kind of understand the nature of football in the city. I know where the good places are and where they're not. And so, I had a couple of conversations with the coach of Whitehaven at the time, right now. And so I talked to him last year, and I know they're trying to kind of get things back going again. So I'm gonna try to find out when they're having like their summer practices and stuff. I may try to roll to a couple of their practices and maybe check out the team, and if they ask me to throw some pointers or something like that, I might do that, and just kind of try to help the team out that way as best as I can.
Network and build that resume up, man, and test it out. Something you like, proceed further with it.
I might just do that. Right. And I think that's something that I'm going to try to work on as far as just getting out there, check out the practices. I think if it's me, I'm probably going to coach. I will probably look at doing defensive line because that's where I played. So that's where I played. I think that's where I would do that.
Would you play DN or tackle?
I'd rather play defensive end. Okay. I mean, I played some D tackle, but I think I was a little bit undersized for that. I would rather been a defensive end. I like getting after the quarterback. I like getting after the quarterback. That was
my job. I played DN. I played middle linebacker and outside linebacker. That was all I did. Get to the quarterback. Get to the quarterback. That was my job.
In junior high, I was more of an outside linebacker. Just my job was to come from the outside and get to the quarterback. That was the main thing. When in high school, I kind of moved inside a little bit more, which I probably should have stayed outside, but I know with the outside linebackers, like with the mile, you had to run the mile in like 7 minutes, and I knew I couldn't do that.
Well, 7 minutes to 30 seconds or something like that?
It was something like that, because I think with the skill position players, I believe they said they got to run the mile in like 5 minutes.
5 minutes, yep.
And I think linebackers, I want to say like linebackers and running backs, I think had to do it in like 7. And then like the linemen had to do it in about 10. Which, that was probably the least amount of fun for me.
Man, chest burning.
Man, go back to the high school practice days. I'm like, you used to hate practice.
Oklahoma's was my favorite.
Woo, I hated that drill. Oh, well, no, not that drill, but the one drill, and I know we're kind of getting all off base here.
No, we're good, man. We are good.
But, and I'm going to answer Titan Rossi's question in a minute. The one drill I hated the most, that I feared the most, was the bull ring. I hated that drill with a passion, especially if for some reason they called me to get in the middle and like be like, because in high school they used to call me Cool Cat. They'll be like, Cool Cat, you're up. I'm like, oh no, why did y'all call me?
I'm too cool, man.
I don't want to get in the middle. And so you had all different guys coming at you. I'm like, I know I'm about to get my tail kicked. But I tried to hang in there.
There was a guy that I hated going up against, man, because that dude was just crazy. I'm like, bro, I mean, to play football, you got to have a screw loose.
I agree.
Something ain't right in your head, if you got. And this dude was just like, he was just over passionate about it.
Man.
I mean? But I respected him, but he always put a little hurting on me. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't tell him that,
Hey, I remember a particular play in practice, and I want to say, and if I remember this formation, it was, I think we called it 78 cross buck. I remember the play exactly. It's a run play, but the right guard pulls. I was on the defensive side. I was at the right outside linebacker spot. So I'm coming in. I'm unblocked. I see the running back with the ball. I'm like, I'm about to make a surefire tackle. Out of nowhere, here comes this big gargantuan lineman just right into me and sent me flying. I'm like, I get up. I'm like, where this fool come from?
After that, your head was on a swivel, though.
My head was on a swivel the whole time, the rest of the way.
Oh, shit. Let me read Titans Rossi's comment real quick. He said, TNT would be hype as a defensive line coach. I agree. Hey, you might take Terrell Williams his job, his defensive line coach.
I wouldn't mind. I would be pumped up, and I would be definitely pumped up. And to his other question, no, I did not get to see a game at Liberty Bowl. Watched a few, but I did not get a chance to see a game at the Liberty Bowl. I think I was still in junior high or high school at the time, so I did not get a chance to see. I did not get a chance to see the game at the Liberty Bowl, unfortunately.
Nashville's a great city for the Titans. They're growing. The city of Nashville.
I agree.
I mean, I'm thinking about trying to move to Nashville. I'm trying because my wife she's in the healthcare industry, so she can get a job anywhere.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for jobs for myself to try, just trying to um, showed her I've been looking for jobs and I might have an opportunity somewhere. You know what I'm
And
saying? So
and I told
I would
and I
love to live
told
in Nashville.
I told my wife this. I mean, because we moved from Nashville back here to Memphis. But she got a great opportunity. And I didn't want to take that from her, but she could tell I was not looking forward to moving back here. I mean, I know this is my hometown and stuff like that, but she knew I did not want to move back here, and she knew I was sad. And I've told her, I said, look, in some years down the road, we're going back. We're going back to Nashville. So just set that in your mind. We're going back.
Were you feeling that way just because of the Titans or just because Memphis it's a rough city, man.
It's a crazy city,
it's a rough city, man.
It's a crazy city, and I mean, but it's home, and I understand that. And there's great people here. There's some crazy people here, but there's some great people here. I'm not even gonna crap on my own city like that. But I mean, just compared to Nashville, it's like Nashville. I felt this sense of happiness, this vibe. I think the Titans had plenty to do with that. Definitely. And I mean, oh my God, it's a great city, and I miss it like crazy. I'll be visiting, throughout the season and stuff like that. So but you know what? Opportunities come, and we got to take advantage of it when we do. So it doesn't matter. But hey, I will always love Nashville. Nashville to me will always be home, no doubt about it.
I got you. Yep. I mean, it's the state of Memphis. I told you that's where all my people are from. That's where my heart's at. You know what I mean?
Yes,
that's
exactly.
Where my heart's at. So I agree with you.
And nobody's talking about Josh Reynolds. I agree.
But Mr. Jennings, that's a good thing. You know,
it is.
You want him to be a diamond in the rough. You want him to be that guy just come out of nowhere, like, man, he just do that.
Yep.
He's got good size, man. And I feel like he has enough experience to go out there and make plays. And that's
I agree.
Making plays, and he showed himself to be some sort of a playmaker. He can get it done.
I agree. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm down for that. So
and that brings me up to my next thought, though. So I've listened to the pressers probably once or twice over and over again. Because it helps me just kind of to gauge where the Titans players' mindsets are at. Especially like I listened to Jackie Chan when he said, "I let people talk who like to talk because it lets me know how full of crap they are."
Exactly.
When they talk, man, and just listening to Julio and Mike Vrabel, he mentions. I mean, it was just he mentioned Racey McNabb's name, just being caught up in the wide receiver conversation. I gave the other night my top 5 receivers. I think Racey McNabb could be one of those guys that could be one of the 6 receivers that we typically use. Because that's typically the number, about 5 or 6 receivers in that core, depending on what schematically who's available, who's healthy, who's not. I feel like he might be one of those guys that come in and make plays for us, because Vrabel's done that before, where he's just mentioned something and it came into fruition. Like, he didn't save it, that he just, like, the fact that he mentioned his name kind of threw up a flag in my mind. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, that is a very interesting thing, and I've said this many times. I mean, you take a look at the wide receiver room. Normally, most rosters are going to carry like 6 receivers. And so you already got AJ, Julio, you got Dez Fitzpatrick,
1A, 1B, right?
1A, 1B. You got them. You got Dez Fitzpatrick and Josh Reynolds. That's 4 spots right there locked up. Nobody's taking those spots. But then you got about maybe 7 guys battling for maybe those last 2 or maybe 3 spots if they decide to keep 7. Because it could happen where they keep 7 receivers. But you got basically 7 guys fighting for like 2 or 3 spots. You got Cam Bassett and Nick Westbrook-Akina. Of course, they were on the roster last year. Neither one of those guys are safe. Because you still got, like you said, Racey McNabb. You still got Marcus Johnson was the guy that was mentioned. TD mentioned him.
Me too. I've watched a lot of film, just watching these guys run routes, watching them, like, see who's able to extend plays, who's able to make plays. I like Chester Rogers.
Chester Rogers is another.
Chester Rogers, I'm not gonna lie. I like his game. I like his game a lot.
And I'll even mention Titan Uplow's favorite guy, Mason Kinsey.
Hey, The Titan Upload's probably not gonna like me for this, and Titans roster either. But I don't think Mason's gonna make the team.
I'm not sure about that either. I mean, I know for a fact Titans Upload has a man crush on Mason Kinsey. He loves the guy, and I respect that completely. I respect that totally, but
Right.
I don't know. I mean, the wide receiver room has become pretty crowded, and so not everybody's gonna be on their team. I can see him being on the practice squad. I can see that. Definitely. So I think Mason Kinsey makes the practice squad. I don't think he makes the roster, but we'll see.
Like Nipsey Hussle says, circle got smaller, everybody can't go.
There it is.
Go, man. Who's gonna make plays? That's what it's about.
That's what it's all about. That is exactly what it's all about.
Sin City agrees that Walter Reynolds and Fersker could have low-key good seasons with all the attention on the big three. I mean, Ferguson's going to get off. We've seen his ability and what he can do.
Good hands.
Yeah, he's got great hands, and he's gotten into the third down situations. He was actually our third down technician last year. It was supposed to be before he got knocked out. I don't think he's going to be able to get right, man.
Right.
He might be can't get right from now on, man. Like when he got hit last year, I thought he was dead.
Oh, that was a bad hit. That was a bad hit.
It was a legal hit too.
Yeah. I mean, it was a trip on that one. I mean, that and then where the Titans was trying to make a comeback against the Cleveland Browns, hit the ball right in Adam Humphries' hands. Hit it right in his hands, and then it goes to the other guy. And
you think that's what did it? They were like, oh, yeah.
I was done with that after that. So it's crazy.
I think that was the last straw. J-Rob he probably texted Vrabel like he's out of here.
Exactly.
Chase Bishop said y'all take high school football super serious in Southern states. Yeah, that's facts. That's facts. That's pro football out there in the South.
Let me tell you. You think Tennessee takes their football seriously, or Georgia or Florida? Go to Texas. Go to Texas.
Yep.
Texas, football is a religion in that state. Football is like second to the love of God down in Texas. I mean, when it comes to football, Texas is crazy about it.
Football, Jesus, and family.
Thank you. That is exactly what it is. Or better yet, in the words of Lance Sullivan, they say God family football is really God football and everything else.
Right.
In Texas. I mean, like y'all saw Friday Night Lights, and I probably believe that's what happened. Right. People will close their businesses early just to go to games. You know, they'll be like, "Hey, look, we closed. Go on to the game."
Right.
You know.
Titans Rossi commented in here. He said, "I don't think Mason will make it either. I do like him though." Yeah, I mean, he might make a team somewhere else. You know, it might remain on the practice squad, and if his number's called, you know, I know they do like him though.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Typically in the NFL, you run about anywhere like between 65 to 80 plays. How are we going to manage the clock, manage the personnel, and keep everybody happy?
I mean, it's going to take a collection. It's going to take a collective effort, because I know it's going to be different every game. One game, AJ's going to be the lead dog. Another game, Julio will be the lead dog. Another game, Derek's going to be the lead dog. And I know a lot of people have talked about, well, what about the targets? How is that going to happen? For example, AJ Brown last year had 106 targets. Mm-hmm. Corey Davis had 92. I believe Jonnu Smith had 65. And I want to say Ferguson had like another 36. Or, well, maybe not 36, but maybe about another 40 or so. So what I think will happen if, for example, if there was an over or under of 100 targets for A.J. Brown or Julio, I'm going the over for both of them. Mm-hmm. I think A.J. will probably have about, I'm going to say, 115, and I think Julio has about 105, or vice versa.
Okay.
I think that's what it's going to be. I think both of them will catch at least 75 balls next year.
That's
I
fair.
think they both have 1,000 yards easily, but I think, I think they're both. I think Julio could have more catches than AJ. I could see that, but I think they're both gonna have at least 75 balls, without a doubt.
I got you.
Because some of them catches that Corey wouldn't make, Julio will make.
Yeah.
You know,
Agreed.
so I think both of them are going to eat, and then you got to remember. So if AJ had 106, and let's just say Julio had the same amount as Corey Davis, take away Jonnu's 65, spread that out. You're probably going to give another 15 targets to AJ. You're probably going to give another 15, 20 targets to Julio. So that's about, I'll say, 30, 40 targets. Then you're probably going to give another 15 extra targets to Josh Reynolds. And then you'll probably give another 10 to Anthony Ferkser. So those Jonnu targets are going to spread out, and that's going to equal more opportunity.
Facts, man. Breach. I'm gonna read one more comment and I'm gonna wrap this up, big bro, so you can get up out of here, man. Let's see here. Said Sin City Titan says, so obviously keeping AJ, Julio, Josh, and Dez, 2 more spots available. I think McMath and Basson are out. Who does that leave? I mean, my 6 are, I got Julio. I have AJ, Julio, Josh Reynolds. I have Chester Rogers at 4, Dez at 5, and Racy McMath. I think that's gonna be the 6 guys we keep. That's my prediction.
You know what? I could get on board with that. I think what Racy McMath could probably be just like Nick Westbrook at Keenum. And I think either Marcus Johnson or Chester Rogers could give you a little bit more than what Cam Batson does. So I'm with you on that. I'm actually with you. I just think it'll either be Chester Rogers or Marcus Johnson, in my opinion.
Right. And then if you get rid of Cam Batson, you can just have Darrington Evans.
He's been practicing with him.
Yeah, he can just return the ball. Man, brother, man, hey, this show's been a blast, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
I have had a ball. I've had a ball. I gotta go eat. So
hey, we'll do it again. Hey, folks, if you haven't already, please hit the like button, subscribe to the Two Tone Zone, share the content, and you're at 936 subscribers right now. So you 24 more to get to that thou wow. So man, hey, let's get brother Chris to 1,000. That way everything can just go into fruition and success, and he can reap all the benefits from it. So thank y'all so much for tuning in to the Two Tone Zone. Until next time, you know the drill, y'all. It's Titan Gang or Don't Bang.
There it is.
There it is. We'll see you next time, y'all.
Tighten up, y'all.